the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine, from the place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome, but nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV, and it's the pre-match build-up, and I've got Harry on with me, Spurs fan. How are you, Harry? All right, mate?
I'm very good, thank you. It's great to be back again. Match day, closer to the game. Great to be here. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Rolly will be joining us shortly. I believe he'll be getting off a train very shortly, so we're just waiting for him to come backstage. So before I get into the show, if you like what you see, then please smash the like. It really does help the channel up with search results, so smash those likes. Also, if you're brand new at the channel, then please hit the subscribe. Free to do so, helps the channel grow. Bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. And yes, on Friday night, I did reach the milestone of 500 subscribers. So a big thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. And I'm now with 503. So there we go.
Much deserved. Well done, Tony.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. Yeah. Trolls is in the chat. He says, hey all. Hi, Trolls. Hope you're well.
Big up.
Hi, Tony and Rowley. Alan says, afternoon, Tony and all. Good afternoon, Alan. Hope you're well.
Alan.
Rowley, there he is. Hi, Tony and Harry. On the bus home now. Should be with you in about half an hour. No problem, mate. Later. Ian says, hi, Tony and Harry. Hi, Ian. Hope you're well. Gareth says, good afternoon, both. Thank you very much, Gareth. Good afternoon to you. So I've had a lot of positive messages, and people are saying you're probably the best away fan I've had on this season, which is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And to be fair, you are one of the best I've had on this season. To be fair,
thank you for inviting me on once again. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah,
no problem at all. And Ian says, congrats on 500 subs, Tony. Yeah, thank you very much, Ian. Halfway to the 1,000 mark now, but Also, I meant to say there's a link in the chat if you want to make a donation to the channel. Just follow the instructions. The pre-match build-up. So what we normally do on this, in case Harry doesn't know, the teams normally come out at about 1 o'clock. So what I'll do is I'll bring up the team lineups as soon as they come out on screen for everybody to see. And I know you're worried about this game today, aren't you, Harry? I mean, do you want anybody who hasn't saw the show?
Yeah, I have to hide afterwards from all the rival fans. It's not Newcastle fans they're worried about. It's the Arsenal, Chelsea, the West Ham, or the other big clubs. Obviously Newcastle are, but as I said to you before, Newcastle fans not a problem with. But no, I'm certainly worried about the game. That's for sure.
I'm just looking at the score. I'm still a bit disappointed West Brom haven't scored yet. They're playing the Mackhams, and and we want to see them get beat today. So come on, West Brom. Andrew says, "All right, lads, absolutely, mate." Alan says he's got a question for you, Harry. So, who are the Newcastle players you are worried about today?
It depends who's fit. I'm a big fan of Bruno Guimaraes. I think he's been fantastic. I just think he made such a difference at Newcastle midfield, because Willock and Longstaff, they're no big names, but when you put Guimaraes in that midfield, it's all of a sudden a world-class midfield, and that's a difference one player can make. And it's not quite the same for us, but when Bentancur is fit, it almost feels like the same. You've got the likes of Højbjerg and Skip, who are very, very average, and then you have someone class like Bentancur, or for Newcastle, even better, you've got Guimaraes. So Maximum, if he's fit, so dangerous, but I have to mention Isak. You know, I mean, what a goal threat he is. You know, very, very clinical. So there's lots of Newcastle players I fear. I mean, Almiron's having a great season, but probably Guimaraes and Alan Maximum and Isak if they're fit. Mainly Bruno Guimaraes, I think it absolutely tear apart our midfield. And because you play with 3 in midfield, if I'm correct, and we only play with with 2. So you could easily, if Stellini doesn't use his common sense, we could easily be outrunning midfields like that. So midfield, I think, is very, very important in this game. So Guimaraes is the one in terms of controlling the play and being creative for me. Good question, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's looking like Maxi won't be fit today, so he won't be playing today. ASM.
Okay.
So, I mean, in all honesty, I expect us to make some changes today. I think, well, if obviously Maxi's out, Joe Linton will probably play left. I think Longstaff will come back into the team. I think Anthony Gordon will drop to the bench. I think Jacob Murphy probably just keeps his place, or maybe Almiron starts. I'm not 100% sure, but if he does start, I think Almiron will probably only get about 60 minutes because he's not fully match fit. So I think that's the changes we make there, and I think left back we could change Dan Burn and bring on.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you could be either up against Kulusevski or Danjuma, who are fantastic. Let's say Kulusevski's not the best form, but they're both quick. But if I was Eddie Howe, one player I probably wouldn't be starting, and there's nothing against him necessarily, but it's Anthony Gordon. I just think you've got the likes of Murphy or Almiron, who, although, like you said, Almiron's not fully match fit, I still can have a better impact. I'm not saying Gordon's not going to work out at Newcastle, but not yet. Let him settle first, perhaps. But you say St. Maximum. So as a Spurs fan, obviously it's great news to hear that St. Maximum isn't playing because of the threat he poses. You know, but at the same time, sitting here, you don't get to watch a fantastic player, one of the best, one of the most entertaining, if not the most entertaining in the Premier League, in St. Maximum, who would dribble past the whole team. Although it's not nice to see, it is a pleasure to watch. So for entertainment and the neutrals especially, St. Maximum not playing is a big blow. So it will be easy for us, but there's no pleasure in watching St. Maximum, because I said to you, didn't I, Tony? If we lose, I still get the pleasure of watching St. Maximum, but if we lose, I don't even get that. So
yeah, you don't know. Ian says we need a better performance than last week if we're going to win today. Absolutely, and a win today pushes us third as well. So, Gareth says not worried about Spurs as a team, but their attack worries me. Son and Kane.
Yeah, as I say, it's mainly Kane you can worry about, I would say. But Son's been in form recently, but I don't think there's anything to worry about. If you keep Kane quiet, let's say Kulusevski plays, you haven't got to worry about him because he's not in great form. It's the midfield, you get control of that midfield. You put up. The main thing is, Tony, you press us, you put us under pressure, that defence, because I mean, even though you all Newcastle fans, you know Eric Dyer is a liability. Romero, in terms of picking up yellow cards, suspensions. So if you put them under pressure, then that's the easiest way. Lloris as well. I mean, you only have to put him under a tiny bit of pressure. So I think that the press and the control in the midfield is very important. But you really haven't got much to fear unless you're going to give Kane the freedom of the park. So for Newcastle, I think there will be, as long as you improve your performance from last weekend, I reckon you'll be able to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Troll says, I think it's funny that opposition fans fear ESM while some of our fans want him sold.
As I said to you, I'd take St. Maximum. He's just an entertainment to watch. And, obviously now I'm writing about Newcastle. I watch them more. And St. Maximum is so much enjoyable when St. Maximum plays. He takes on players. He's fearless. Obviously, it must be frustrating as a Newcastle fan when he takes on that one too many players and loses the ball. But for a neutral or even a Newcastle fan, at times it is fantastic to watch. And he's just a very, very skillful player. But at the same time, you've got more exciting players in that Newcastle team who can cause us problems, like I highlighted Guimaraes. Isak as well, very, very clever player. Callum Wilson, wherever he starts or off the bench, he possesses a huge goal threat. And he's like scores against Tottenham. He's done it a lot for Bournemouth. He's done it for Newcastle. I don't know how many goals he scored against us, but he's definitely scored a few. So everywhere you look in that Newcastle team, despite their form, you've got very exciting and promising players who could definitely, if they get time on the ball, could cause us problems today.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. It's must win for us today, says Alan. Absolutely, Alan. I mean, you just look at Liverpool. They're now on 50 points. That's 6 points behind us. So basically,
We've got to watch Liverpool because like they're running. They've got us at home. They beat us. They're in a good position. They've won 2 in a row now. I think just as simple as finding Alexander-Arnold a new position seems to have changed a lot. Whether even if that's off the ball, he looks like a different player, and that seems to have transformed Liverpool as well. I mean, even the likes of Jota yesterday. That's the best he's played all season. So all of a sudden, I'm worried about Liverpool. So for Newcastle, it's a must-win for them. For us, if we want to have that outside chance of top 4, of course it's a must-win. But I highlight it even more for Newcastle to that opportunity to go third and pull away from us, pull away from Liverpool. And with Man United not playing, it's a perfect opportunity for Newcastle, a perfect situation, especially with United not playing. So I say it now. I would take the point, although it still is unlikely we'll get top 4. The point right now, high flying Newcastle in St James's Park, where the fans are electric. I think if you come away with anything, you're going to be lucky. But it's a massive game for Newcastle, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Troll says next season Gordon will come good in my opinion. I think he will full pre-season. Ian says Gordon needs to play on the right in my opinion. Yeah, he does. I mean, after that, the way he played against Man U when he came on the right, he looked better. On the left, he just looked lost. I could see what Eddie Howe was thinking. Let's put him up against Ashley Young, who's like 36-year-old and, close to getting his Zimmer frame out, where at least Anthony Gordon's got paced out, strip him, but that didn't work, unfortunately.
No, I can see the idea.
Yeah. Jan says Wilson, Isak, Miggy Longstaff, Joe Linton, Bruno Trips, Botman, Byrne, Sharon, Pope. That's not a bad shout, yeah.
The big call for Newcastle, like we discussed, is that left-back spot. Do you go with Dan Byrne, who's consistently, excluding last weekend, consistently performed and been a key part of Eddie Howe and Newcastle's success this season? But take that risk of up against either Danjuma or Kulusevski. I don't know who's going to start. Kulusevski's will probably start, but at the same time, Danjuma's been knocking on the door. They're quick. So you take that risk, or do you go with Matt Targett, who hasn't had as much minutes, but he is quicker. So it's whether will he fit into that Newcastle system as well as Dan Byrne? Probably not, but at the same time, he'd probably be able to match the pace of whoever plays for us down the right. So it's a big call for Eddie Howe, and I think everything else is easier, but the left back slot is the one that is going to be the one that would have given him headaches all week. I personally think he'll go with Dan Byrne, despite last weekend and despite the pace we offer, just because of how well he's done this season, and he's more defensively minded than Matt Targett. So I think Dan Byrne will start, but it's one that it's an interesting one because either of them could start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I think he's done well, Byrne, but I think he needs to come out today and have a rest. So personally, I would say Targett plays ahead of Byrne today.
Yeah, that would be the sensible option, but I can't see it.
Joel says we need Isak today because we need a baller for their defence. Yeah, absolutely. Alan says,
you don't need anyone of any skill to face our defence. Yeah, they've got mistakes in them. Anyone who's watched, I mean, when you beat us at our stadium, right, with Lloris and with our defence, with Dyer, not even under any pressure and they make mistakes. So can you imagine if you put us under pressure? So if you're Newcastle, first 15, 20 minutes where we're usually on top, go for us, put us under pressure, and you seriously could be 2 or 3 up. And then, you'll be in a very, very strong position. But Dyer, Lloris, Romero, they're all a right liability. They can't handle pressure, as Conte said, and he's spot on. Go wait for that, Alan.
Alan says, who would you take as your next man? Just Steve Bruce is available.
I'm gonna ignore that last bit about Steve Bruce because I don't think he done a good job at either Newcastle or West Brom. You know, nearly took them down. If he was still here, I reckon they would have gone down. Look how much better they're doing without him as well. As a person, I think he's a nice person. But as a manager, I mean, no, not for him. But who would I take? Well, I would take Pochettino. I'd take Nagelsmann. They're the two that you know at the top. But managers like, I don't know if you've heard of Arne Slot for Feyenoord. I think he's doing a fantastic job. Suits a lot of categories in terms of works well with younger players. Exciting, more possession-based football, which we need. But with us, it's about finding our style and identity back. Because at the moment we have no plan, we have no direction. We don't know where we're going. Levy can keep saying, "Oh, we need to get the style of the club back," but then goes and appoints Conte. So, I don't think he knows or we know as a club where we're going next or what we want to be or do. Thomas Frank, I think, has done a fantastic job at Brentford. But again, why would you come to Tottenham? Same with De Zerbi, doing a fantastic job at Brighton and has fantastic recruitment and backing. Why would you come to Tottenham to be ignored by the chairman, the owners and the board and not listen to and not have your say on who you want? There's lots of managers. I'd have Vincent Kompany as well. I'd have him. Again, why would you leave? You'd wait for the City job. But managers I don't want Potter, I don't want Rodgers, or I don't want Enrique.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting who you get as manager at Tottenham. But
it's a big call for Levy because Levy's under a lot of pressure, the most he's ever in his 22 years as chairman so far. So this is a massive call. We all said Conte was his last chance. So the only way he can get fans back on side is somehow at least approaching Pochettino, who asked fans to, by the way, sing every game, his name. But he still doesn't get it. And if he goes to Chelsea, I'll put that on Levy. It will hurt. But that is another failure on his side of things. It's massive for him as well, who's under so much pressure at the moment. There's so many protests planned, people planning not to turn up, for example, to the Palace game. He must get this right. And if he appoints someone like Brendan Rodgers, who he's tried to before, that isn't going to go down well at all.
Yeah, just let you know, West Brom have took the lead against Sunderland. John Swift with a penalty in the 45th plus 1 minute, so in added time in the first half. So there we are, West Brom 1, Mackems 0.
Whereabouts do they sit in the table? Because I know they've been a lot better since Steve Bruce has left. I know they've gone from down here to up here. I don't know if they sit outside.
They're in the playoffs.
The playoffs are in it.
Well, they will be now, I think. Yeah, they'll be fifth. If they win today, they go fifth. Yeah.
When you look at clubs like Norwich and Watford, they're both now in the bottom half. Well, yeah, pretty much, and they're both mid-table. So that is strange. It's a strange season in the Premier League and a strange one in the Championship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sexy Mag, or Sefton as we know, Maz says, "Good afternoon, all. I'm late. Jobs for brownie points. What to do? What you do to watch the tune? Hi, Tony and Harry in chat. Away the lads. Good afternoon, Sefton. Hope you're well, mate.
Afternoon.
Everybody's saying hi to Sefton. And he says, "There's something different about me today." Is that? Oh, what's that? Share it with us, then. Troll says, "You did the unthinkable, a name changed." He did, Trolls, didn't he? Just. He says, "Yeah, I went with what my admirers wanted." Okay, keep believing that, mate. Yes, we do make it easier, says Trolls. He says, "How are the tune? Hodgson for Spurs," says Trolls.
Don't.
Niall, afternoon, lads. Good luck to the tune.
Afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Niall. Jan says, "You do have One Direction mid-table."
Yeah, and inconsistency as well. Like my saying of this season is the one thing we have going in terms of consistency this season is our inconsistency, and that hurts. We're always different, but since Delaney has come in, the one consistent thing we've had is it's the same boring old team. But at the same time, although it's consistent, right? See, it's insanity if you think about it, because we're doing the same thing, but every game we're expecting a different result. Like we lose to Bournemouth, it'll probably be exactly the same team, bar Lenglet, who's injured. and we expect to win the game. I mean, how? If it's not going to work against Bournemouth, how's it going to work against Newcastle, who are 5 times better than Bournemouth, and the other end of the table? I just don't get what goes through his head. It definitely feels like Conte's still here, but no, we don't have a direction, and we're going down that. We're going to follow Everton, and that is a worry. If the manager call isn't right, the likes of Kane leave, the likes of Son leave. Although I said I was excited for next season, it could all go wrong as well. But no direction for sure.
Yeah. Sefton, how are you? West Brom. Alan says, what about Chris Hughton for the Spurs job? Do you know what? I mean, he did a great job for us when he got first job as ever as a manager. We were unbeaten at home all season in the Championship. We got promoted. He did great for us. When we come back, we beat Villa at home. We thumped them 6. We thumped Sunderland 5-1 on Halloween. I remember being
What was the football like, though? Because I know at Brighton he was quite defensive, but I don't know if that was the players that he had at the time.
Maybe down to that, but I mean, we seemed to be pretty okay at St James's. I mean, when he was at Newcastle, he seemed to be okay, and he got the results. We lost to West Brom, and after that, he got sacked, and we thought that was a bad move at the time. I know some Forest fans have said, "Oh, they were glad when Hughton left and all this." Yeah, he hasn't done awfully great when he's left us, but I still think there's a manager in there. But whether he'd be right for Spurs, I'm not 100% sure. Although
nobody's right for Spurs and Daniel Levy, to be honest. You have to, if you come into Tottenham, the sad thing is you're going to have to change your ways. Your freedom of your previous job is done. You got Levy in your ear, and this is any Newcastle fans who are listening right now. This will probably surprise you because I don't think it happens at any other club, right? We have Levy's relative, right, who Levy's our chairman. I think it's his step brother who actually sits on the bench 2 seats away from the manager, and apparently is his eyes and ears. And then he's on the phone after the game, before the game's even finished, to Levy, if there's been anything that has been said about him by the players, by the fans behind him, by the manager. I mean, there's no freedom, there's no privacy. That's a lack of trust for me. But no, it can't. It's not. It won't be nice coming to Spurs at the moment. I mean, the only nice thing is you get to play at a lovely, shiny new stadium. He wants to turn us into a multi-sports brand, and he's done a lot for the business side of things. But we're a football club. We're not a property portfolio. We're not a multi-sports brand yet. Not when you don't come to Tottenham to go, oh, at least like Kane, he's finished his career. Oh, at least I got to play at that lovely, shiny new stadium. Because in 20 years' time, everyone will have shiny new stadiums. Everton will be next. So that's not enough. You should be able to turn around and go, I won a trophy at Tottenham. I've won a trophy in my career. Not that we played in this lovely, lovely stadium with no atmosphere because the stadium's doing terrible and toxic feel around it. So it's baffling, really. But with Chris Hughton, it's not something I bear in mind, but it's a possibility. I mean, anyone can apply for the Spurs job right now. I could. I mean, Levy might put his name down. So it's uncertain times, that's for sure, Alan.
Troll says, "Hey Harry, by the way."
Big up. Afternoon.
Yeah, we've had that one, Sefton.
No,
Bruce for
Spurs.
Alex Bruce.
No.
Yeah. Alan,
Yes, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, Alan's right. You need to get rid of Levy.
Yeah.
Well done, reaching 500. Thank you very much indeed, Sefton.
Yeah, good achievement.
BS says, what about Lampard to Spurs?
No. That's even worse. No. Yes. And I actually listened to this, Tony. I had a bad dream, what I call a nightmare last night, is that Levy put out a statement and that him and Mike Ashley are going to both run it as chairman of Tottenham. That just, can you imagine if that happens? And then do you get someone from the Glazers that come in as well? Oh, it'd be a nightmare. But it's the same with Man United. It's the same with Everton. As soon as they get rid of the owners, the better. Or maybe just the chairman. I think as much as I want the owners gone, Levy is the main problem. People say he's just a puppet head. He's the one who sacks managers. And he's the one who's has the final say or has this delusional saying, right? I don't know if you know, Tony, but 2 days ago, he done an interview for University of Cambridge, right? And I thought, Bradley's going to answer some of the fans' questions. But all he really said was, oh, I can admit, we and the Enoch, we came in it as an investment, not in terms of a football club or to be successful, blah, 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 blah. But then he says how, it's sad to see Arsenal at the top of the league, but the last 5 years we've been so much better than them and had our dominance. Yes, that's true. But what he doesn't understand is in those 5 years, Arsenal won a trophy and one FA Cup, and we won absolutely nothing. What he doesn't understand is he goes, "Oh, this perhaps is Arsenal's time." But the difference is they win a trophy, whereas in our time, as he likes to call it, we don't win a trophy. And because in his eyes, he sees the last 5 years as the most successful the club has ever had. So I don't know what he's playing at. I don't know if he's joking. I don't know if he's deluded. I don't know what. Is somebody's ear. But some of the things he actually came out with in that interview and comes out generally is quite worrying. That you think that you're doing a fantastic job. Honestly, it's mind-blowing. He didn't answer any of the questions about direction, identity, plan, his own job scrutiny. He ignored it all. So, yeah, leave you to the team.
There we go. And that's a swear word at the end, Alan, by the way, because I don't like to mention that man's name. Joel says Everton will have the largest stadium in the Championship. Hey, they will do if they go down, I tell you now. And it'll be a brand new and won't it make its debut in the Championship, not the Premier League. Patrick says Spurs have quite a few injuries. Is he right?
The defence is the problem, right? Because the situation with Sanchez where he got literally booed off the pitch and was at fault for both goals. And in result to abuse from Spurs fans. Well, I don't call them fans, trolls really. He's actually deactivated all his social media accounts. So it's clear that he's got abused. It's clear that he's affected him. So do you play him, someone who's obviously he's not in the best place mentally, and that won't go down well with the fans? Or do you play Tanganga, who he's going to be extremely rusty, hardly ever plays. We don't know his best position. He's aging. Do you change the whole formation? At the same time, we've got no natural right or left back. So there's a big problem there, even bigger problem than Stellini's stubbornness, believe it or not. So there's a lot of problems, but there might be a surprise in 30 seconds' time that Davies or Lenglet's unexpectedly made it, but I doubt there will be, in the start 11. So there's injury problems, but we can't use that as an excuse because Newcastle have got one of their best players out in St. Maximin. So I can't turn around here and go, oh, we lost because we had injuries. Every club is going to experience injuries. I look at Twitter this morning, right? Spurs fans saying, if we lose, it's down to injuries. No, it's not. You can blame Levy for not, signing players as replacements, but don't start the excuses already. I mean, if Newcastle beat us, that was because they are the better team and they're having a better season and they're in a better place as a club. And you've got to accept that. Why should I sit here and go, we lost because we had injuries? If we had so and so back, we would have won, because that's not true. It's excuses and it's rubbish. That's my rant.
I've got the team sheet for Newcastle v Spurs.
Oh, here we go. Go on.
So Nick Pope, Trippier, Fabian, Dan Burn, Bruno, Sean Longstaff, Joe Willock, Jacob Murphy, Joe Linton, Alexander Isak. The subs: Dubravka, Lascelles, Gordon, Wilson, Ritchie, Target, Manquillo, Almiron, and Elliot Anderson. So that is the team line for Newcastle United. He's gone with Dan Burn. Yeah, he hasn't brought.
Did you say,
I'm surprised.
Did you say Isak or Wilson? Did you say Isak or Wilson up front?
Isak.
Is Wilson not on the bench?
Yes, he's on the bench. Wilson is. Yes, he's on the bench. But so I mean, he can come on the second half and maybe get his customary goal again, because he does well against Tottenham, doesn't he? He always seems to.
Yeah, he likes scoring. We give him the freedom of the park, and he scores wonder goals as well. That's the thing; they never tap ins. He scores his goal of the season against us.
So there's the.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
there you go. There's a team.
Yeah,
Spurs team is Lloris in goal, Pedro Porro, Romero, Dyer, Perisic, Højbjerg, Sarr, Skip, Kulusevski, Kane, and Son. On the bench, you have Forster, Tanganga, Sanchez, Longley, Davies, Mundell, Devine, Danjuma, and Richarlison.
Okay, so that's good news. So for us, so what we've done is we've matched you up. For the first time this season, we've played a back four. So we will play a 4-3-3. I can picture it now. You've got Skip, Højbjerg, and Sarr. God knows who's going to play the defensive role. Maybe Højbjerg. maybe Skip. Yeah, so you've got, did you say Porro and Perisic at
Yes.
fullbacks? So anyone who doesn't know, neither of them have ever played. So Porro's never played right back, and Perisic has never played left back. So if you're Newcastle, you got to go for it. Okay, so that's the team. Richarlison's on the bench, right? Dan, I want to see what has Kulusevski done to start. I mean, what's he done? He must have like a secret about Levy or Stellini. There must be some kind of secret he's got there, because I like him, but he's done nothing this season. He's good. I see all the time people talk about Richarlison's the flop of the season. Kulusevski's the flop. He hasn't stepped up, and he was so good as well last season. So yeah, it looks like a 4-3-3, Tony. Kind of matched you up, but there's positives for us in terms of, we see that back four. We're not going to be outnumbered in midfield, ideally, but the negative is we've got no natural right back or left back. So if you're Newcastle, if you're Jacob Murphy as a team, if you're Jacob Murphy, you're Joelinton, then you've got an opportunity to expose them. But no, I'm very surprised by that team news, and happy actually. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll just run through some comments here, and then Troll says Levy reminds me of the character in Aviator. Totally paranoid. Paul says Lampard shouldn't be anywhere near a Prem job. This recycling of piss poor managers needs to stop. Absolutely.
Yeah. Great player, very mouthy, but no, not a good manager.
BS says Levy's toxic, tries to manage the club from his boardroom, impossible to work for. Got Spurs gone global in the chat. He says Spurs are now paying for Twitter Blue subscription. That's our transfer budget gone.
Oh God! Big up for joining. Spurs gone global. Twitter Blue subscription. Well, there you go. That just sums up the club, doesn't it? That's almost like being a multi-sports brand again. Hey, look at us. We're different. We play for a blue tick. Watch out for us. Invest into us. We're run by Circus. But Tony, if you don't mind bringing out that earlier comment, something to do with Levy, toxic, and the board.
Yeah,
it's coming out recently that certain people in the board have more power. Apparently, that's the comment from Beer Viking. Someone called Dollar Cullins, and there's a couple of others who have the main say, and on the majority of the board have no say whatsoever. They're just ignored. And Donna Cullins is the one, for example, who doesn't want Pochettino back. Is very against what us fans want. So yeah, it's strange. I've never known a board where you've got someone is up here and you've got someone who down here. It doesn't matter. I thought in a board and the point of a hierarchy was you're all equal and have a say, but it just sums up our club. We're not run like a football club. We're run like a business that is outdated. It's like getting milk out the fridge, but your years, 22 years out of date. Out now, go.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. We're run wrong. And we're being literally going to be run into the ground financially. Hopefully not, because we are run financially well, but in terms of the football side of things, not very good.
Troll says for the money we spent, we are 9th in the Prem. Saw the stats yesterday. Coffee says hi, Tony, Harry, and all. Hi, Coffee.
Hello, I certainly do like coffee.
Yeah, Coffee says Levy looks like Uncle Fester. Well, yeah, there is a resemblance there, isn't there? So, yeah, there is. You look at that, yeah, there is a resemblance. So, yeah, certainly does look like him.
Oh dear.
So, yeah,
he does. Yeah.
Spurs gone global says Sauce starts.
I know. I'm delighted with that.
Yeah.
Get in there.
If you're new, mate, smash that subscribe. Thank you. Ian's talking about coffee. Patrick says McFarland hat-trick. Murphy, yeah. Would love to see Murphy get a goal. To be fair. Target me leaving the summer says Coffee. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
That's the team, says Sexy Mag. BS says Dan bullet header today. Dan Byrne bullet header. Yeah, that would be brilliant.
Yeah,
overhead bicycle kick from Coffee.
Yeah, we seem to do this silly zonal marking thing recently under Stellini. So yeah, if Dan Benton's only got to be free, get his head on it, it goes in the back of the net. set pieces as well. We're terrible at them, so big opportunity for Newcastle there.
Gareth says, just hope Burn proves me wrong, has a good game. Otherwise, I'm happy with the lineup. Spurs Gone Global says, sort of do what Skippy done versus Chelsea. Mafinho, back heel goal, 3-1. How are you, the lads? Happy St. George's Day, absolutely. Lampard was a great manager signing for Chelsea, and long may it last. Absolutely, trolls. I mean, the thing is, Chelsea could even finish probably right down to 14th. Who knows if they carry on the way they're playing? Because Palace are catching them up. They should have won yesterday against Everton, by the way.
They should have, yeah. Extra man as well. That is a missed opportunity for Palace, because I think if Palace win that, they're in the Premier League next season. So at home as well, it's a massive opportunity for Everton as well. Getting up, it will feel like a good point of time, but going into it, they would have wanted to win that as well. So disappointing for both teams, actually.
Coffee says diabolical. I like the way he's put that. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Diabolical, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Exploring the Northeast, good afternoon to you. He says, how are the lads? 2-1 and keep us in the top 4. Well, we'll go third if we win today. Smash the like button. Thank you very much, trolls. Who's the officials? David Coots, the referee today. So that's the referee for us today.
It is, yeah.
David Coots, I'm not really sure. He was a final referee, and I thought he was quite weak. Yeah, they are. Alan says, be one hell of a game. But for me, it's a 3-1 win Newcastle, yeah. And Coffee says, I thought there was a face on Harry's ceiling. Is that?
Nothing
no.
there.
No.
No. I don't know. I might have looked up or might have looked back because there's a light behind me.
Yeah. Right. I'm delighted to bring in. He's here now, the voice of reason. Rolly is here, my co-host. Hey. Hi, Rolly. How are you?
I'm good, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just got back from London. So, fortunately, the connection for my bus to get home was on time, and I got there in time. So, yeah, it's good to meet you, Harry. I enjoyed your show with Tony.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I think that for a lad so young, you're incredible.
I appreciate that.
Really knowledgeable. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
Oh, thank you. Nice to have you here.
Yeah. So I've been listening to the show as I've been travelling, so I know where you.
Oh, yeah, that's always handy.
You haven't missed anything. So yeah, as I say, the Premier League appointment for the referee, it's David Coote. His assistants is Simon Bennett and Timothy Wood. The fourth official is the referee we had last week, John Brooks. So hopefully David Coote doesn't get an injury and he has to come on in his place. VAR is Neil Swarbrick, and assistant VAR is Richard West. So that is
they're all
today
terrible
for the officials. They are.
You need to investment. Get your proper pair of referees. Actually, spend some money in that department in training them, because there's no point having VAR at the moment. The people who are using it, they're all as bad as each other, and the level of refereeing in this country is shocking.
Yeah,
you've got time, trolls. You got time.
The problem with VAR isn't the system; it's the people.
Exactly. The idea is good. The idea is good, but the people who are using it, because there's not enough money going into that training, that investment, that training, they've got a bunch of middle-aged men who who just doing it. You need to invest into that, and because at the moment the referees are really, really poor with or without VAR. But the idea is good, but it's not going to work if the people who are using it. Every week is a controversial decision. Everyone's going to make mistakes, but at the moment, so many mistakes are being made, even with VAR. These referees have a lot to answer for, because I thought the likes of the refereeing in the World Cup and previous World Cup was fantastic. Yeah. That proves it's just in this country that the refereeing is at an all-time low.
The Macans are just equalised.
Yes, I've literally just seen that Sunderland have equalised against West Brom now. That's still time for West Brom to, there's plenty of time. West Brom will come back, and I'm sure they'll get it. I'm sure they'll get a goal. They'll get a goal back, and let's.
But a draw keeps Sunderland out of the playoff places, so that's good too.
The goal's been scored by ex-Tottenham player Dennis Sirkin.
Oh yeah, again, I don't know why we let him go. It must be a manager thing. I think he went under Mourinho. It might have been Nuno. I don't know who he went under, but he went under one of them. We've had so many managers, you forget who's gone with it, who went with that manager. Yeah, we've let so many young players go. The academy is a huge problem because we've got nobody coming through, and we're letting people go. For surprisingly not a lot either. Makunde was the latest one. Circuit was one. But yeah, I haven't seen him on the score sheet yet. So there you go. Score for Sunderland. Important time as well.
Alan says, I hope Brighton smash Man United today.
Yeah, so do we.
I really hope so.
Sexy Mag says, hi, Rolly.
Hi, Sexy Mag.
Good afternoon, Rolly, says Gareth. Jules is saying hi to you as well.
Obviously, I've seen the lineup. I'm not surprised that Dan Burn is starting.
No.
And in a way, I'm not surprised that Jacob Murphy starts as well, because he's only had one poor game in this run that we've been winning in the run of wins. So I'll give him 50 minutes, and if he's as poor as he was against, the likelihood of everyone being that poor, I think, is slim. Again,
I think in front of your own fans, I think the players will want to respond. But that's the difference with Newcastle and Tottenham. You will go out there and put probably one of your best performances of the season in front of the fans. The atmosphere will be great. That's something that needs to be highlighted. I highlighted Tony with you on the early show earlier in the week. How loyal and fantastic Newcastle fans have been. They waited a long time for this. Like, the support will be excellent. If we lost 3-0, the atmosphere wouldn't be good, and two, the players wouldn't turn up. They wouldn't. They'd switch off. Like, for example, our reaction to getting knocked out of the FA Cup is to lose 1-0 to Wolves and lose 1-0 to Milan. So there you go. That's our reaction, and to have no shots on target. So I'm sure your reaction will be a lot better.
Hopefully that will be your reaction today.
Well, yeah, it probably will be, because our players don't learn. But I think I'm very surprised by our change of formation. It's the first time that Stellini's had a mind of his own, and he's not followed Conte. So it's interesting. We've changed that formation to match you up. I think that brings us into the game. I still don't think we get anything out of the game, but all of a sudden our problems of being outnumbered in midfield have gone. But at the same time, we've got Perisic. Mix those two names up there, Porro and Perisic, right back, left back, and neither of them have ever played there before. So if you're Joelinton or Murphy, I mean, you'd be rubbing your hands together right now.
Definitely. Kevin says 2-1 Newcastle, Isak and Joelinton and Kane for Spurs. Not a bad shout, mate.
No.
Coffee says Tony will be warming up to come in the second half. If we haven't scored yet, he's got his kit on. That's out it. Joel says VAR should be pro people who only deserve VAR, in my opinion. I think it should be. I think it should be independent, and I think it maybe should be an ex-player sitting alongside a referee, and then they can give their views as well. So
I also think, Tony, we should be able to hear the conversation. And if you're going to the stadium, you need to know what's happening, because you know more from watching TV than going to the game. Yet they moan about more people using illegal streams. Yeah, but if we went to the stadium, we'd be good to know what was happening. Like, all the fans sit here, the boos, we all sit, what's happened, because it just says, sometimes doesn't even say VAR check in progress. We don't know what it's for. It's just sudden pause in play. So there's a lot that needs to change with VAR if we want it to continue. Because right now there's really no point, because there's more mistakes than ever.
I mean, a couple of things on the VAR. They were saying that they only make one mistake in 37 games, which that's basically one mistake every 2 game cycles. It's just under that. So they're making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
They're saying they're going to make 38 major mistakes a season. But I think one of the biggest problems is the contentious decisions they make, the amount of time they take to make it. So if you're looking at something for 5 minutes, it's not clear and obvious. So they should have a time limit on probably on everything other than offside, because offside's the measurement. Everything else, there should be a time limit. If you can't definitely say that they've made a mistake in a minute, you go with the on-field decision.
Yeah.
Because if you've got to look at it that many times, it's not clear and obvious, and that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, exactly. But look at when we went and beat Brighton 2-1. As a Spurs fan, I can sit here and go, Brighton were robbed. I mean, who would leave you paid, VAR and the referee? For example, that Højbjerg foul. I mean, they apologise. There's no good coming afterwards and apologising. That doesn't change anything. It's almost like it's rude and sarcastic.
Brighton a place in Europe or potentially the Champions League. Those points they dropped.
That could be absolutely crucial. And although I sit here and go, I'm glad the decisions went that way, it was clear to see. And the point of VAR is there was at least one with that Højbjerg foul. That's a clear penalty. VAR's got to see that and give it. And there was other ones as well. There was just like
there's about three.
It's crazy because if the referee's going to have that bad of a game, right? At least you can go, oh, you've got the guys in Stockley Park who can correct his errors. You can't tell me that all the guys in Stockley Park, because there's more than one of them, and the referee and the referee's assistant, they've all had a bad game at once. It's crazy. That's probably one of the worst refereeing performances I've definitely seen of the season. And if you're Brighton fan, you're livid.
I mean, even with the offsides, because the number of times when they've gone to check offside and they put the still without the lines, I was saying, oh, he's obviously onside, or he's obviously offside, and then they take 3 minutes to draw the lines. It's
bonkers.
Yeah. That's the problem. They get
given too much time to come to the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If they're given a time limit, it's going to concentrate their minds for one thing, and they're going to look for something that's got to be really obvious. Let's say, oh, did it hit his shoulder? Did it hit the sleeve? Well, if you're worried about that,
how long would you put a time limit for?
I'd probably max it out at 2 minutes, and you're only allowed to watch the replay so many times.
Would you? I would do it less than that. I'd actually even do it 30 seconds just to get on with the game and just to actually. I think that's the only way you're going to force some action.
30 seconds, depending on how many ankles they're looking at, 30 seconds might not be enough.
Having said that, it depends on the situation and
that's why I say 2 minutes. Because most decisions should be made. You should be able to make most decisions in 2 minutes. And if you can't make it in 2 minutes, you need to stay with the ref's decision.
It's horrible that you see that some go on for nearly 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You can make a decision quicker, but it's not only that, guys. When you're taking that long to then go and get the wrong decision, like with Brighton, it's been ages looking at that. For example, penalty. It's not given. I mean, come on, if you're going to take that long, at least get the decision right. They don't do either of them. It's a disgrace.
Absolutely. I think the other thing on the flip side of that, the majority of decisions they do get right, but when they get it wrong, it's so badly wrong that it makes them. You forget about all the good decisions they've made.
Yeah.
So it's because the ones they're making are so bad. The ones they get wrong.
Really
it's not something. I mean, you can take it if it's something that's a 50-50 and they come out and say, oh, yeah, we've seen this. And you can see it, okay. But it's a harsh penalty. But, it's a penalty where the guy's pulling his leg out the way and he just touches him, just catches him or something like that. Or some of the fouls that you think, my sort of test on penalties, if it was the other way around, would I want the penalty? If it's us getting a penalty, if it was the other side, would I be upset that they got a penalty for what we got one for? If I'm thinking, I guess it was, I'm not too bothered. But if it's
I completely agree with you. But it's like with that Tottenham and Brighton game. At the time, I go, oh, I'm glad we got the decisions. But at the same time, I'd rather the correct decision be, to be there because I want it to be as professional and because it's the Premier League. It's the top league that lots of higher standard than a lot of other leagues, maybe even the highest. Who knows? It's a completely other debate. But the refereeing is one of the lowest standard. That's where there's no balance, there's no in the middle there. But no, with that Brighton game, they were the better team, and it was like they were against them. Okay, the minimum you make 2 mistakes, let's say, in that game, but there was more than that. And although even if they're outside the box, there was just some ridiculous things. And then both Tottenham and Brighton go after and get fined, what, 100,000? 100,000. I mean, especially Brighton, but I think both clubs could be furious with that because that's the referee's fault. Why didn't you fine them? Because, for example, they wouldn't have had the row on the touchline if the decisions weren't as bad. So, find the referee. Don't find the clubs for showing a bit of passion. That's just, again, it's a completely other discussion, but that is another problem.
Yeah, definitely. If you like what you see, smash a like, please. It really does help the channel with search results, so smash those likes. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe. If you do so, helps the channel grow. Bell notification tells you when I'm live, how I pre-record, or any upcoming shows. Just going to run through some comments. Yeah. Ian says, I wouldn't mind Sunderland getting promoted, miss the derby, and an easy 6 points next season.
Derby's never easy.
I'd rather see them wallowing in the lower leagues.
Troll says, I think Miggy isn't fit enough yet, and that's why the goalpost Murphy starts. The woodwork man, yeah. Alan says, Tony, do you think Target leaving the summer? I'm not sure, but I know. I mean, the rumours keep saying that we're after a left back, and I'm not sure, but I think he could well do. He may think, do you know what? I've not played a lot. Yes, I know I didn't get in because he didn't get in because Dan Burn come in when he got ill, and he hasn't regained his place, and he may sit down in the summer where he has and say, look, am I going to play much next season? If not, can I please go? And if
also,
he does,
Tony,
that's fine.
If you're trying to get a first choice left back in, or you're trying to get a backup for Dan Burn. I mean, I don't know where Newcastle fans sit with it, whether they're happy with Dan Burn or they want to go, like let's say you want to challenge for the title. I mean, realistically, are you going to rely on Dan Burn as a left back? Probably not. Not if you're talking Champions League, maybe not. But he does the job well. But in terms of quality, the big names out there. So for Matt Target and Dan Burn, perhaps you kind of look at it and go, but at the same time, Newcastle doing really well and having success, and they could potentially win trophies, let's say next season. So you want to stick around and be part of that, even if you don't get played lots of minutes. It depends your perspective as a player, whether you're a kind of a proper what I call teammate, whereas you want to be involved in this some way, shape, or form, involved in the success, or you just want to be on the pitch. You want to be on that pitch. In that case, Matt Target, where you'd be happy to go to a smaller club who aren't in the best of places to get minutes. So it really depends.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a case of both sides sitting down and just having a review of what's happened this season and what the plan is moving forward. And basically assessing the situation. Because I'm pretty sure that we are going to look for a left back. And if we're going to look for a left back, we're going to look for a left back that's better than what we've got.
Well, you would have thought so, definitely.
Yeah. So that does put Target in a position. Does he want to stay at the club and be part of the project? Or does he want to play first team football? He's young enough that he can still fight for his place. But does he want to fight? Yeah. I mean, he's been unlucky. I mean, Eddie Howe said it. He's been really unlucky because he got ill and Dan Burn came in and played really well. And he's been a victim of the success of the team. And that Dan Burn's played so well.
Yeah.
The defense has been playing so well. You don't change a defense that's been as good as ours unless you have to.
Yeah, spot on.
And he suffered. I mean, Alan Saint-Maximin.
What a defensive season you've had. You'd be crazy to change anything. Is that like Matt Target? Although it may be quicker, you'd be crazy to change it. Look at how good defensively Newcastle have been this season. Why would you change it in a must-win game? So I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes, says Stellini is Italian for Lampard.
I love that.
Spurs Gone Global says this game will either be Spurs game of the season or we will get thrashed. No in between.
I think we know which one it's going to be. But I completely agree with the comment.
Alan says, Harry, where did you sign Son from? He's a class player. They got him from Leverkusen, Bayer Leverkusen for 30 million euros.
It was taking a bit of a risk at the time, but it turns out to be very successful. But he's gone missing this season at the same time. So overall, a fantastic decision, yes.
Jack says, good afternoon all. Good afternoon, Jack. Lineup's looking good. Easy 3 points and a clean sheet today. Hopefully, let's hope so. Spurs Gone Global says Danny Rose's outfit on the Spurs build-up is something else. Less least said about that player, the better. BS says if they're given a time limit, they'll just let it lapse, avoid responsibility. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
if they do that, at least you've gone with the official on the field. I mean,
Jack says,
the big problem with VAR is that when they call the ref to the screen, he's going over with a mindset, I've made a mistake, rather than say, well, show me why I shouldn't give the decision I already initially give. He's going with, oh, I've made a mistake, I need to change it. And I need to change that mindset, and that will improve it a lot. And then if you put the time limit on top of that, it will just it will help.
Jack says I'm the same with Borough, Ian. I can't stand the Smoggies, but an easy ground for me to get to for the matches. Yeah. Troll says, to be fair, Target hasn't got many chances to prove himself after he was fit, though. Yeah, he hasn't. Burn complete left back in Europe wouldn't work, in my opinion. No, I don't think it would. I think we'll be looking for a decent left back in the summer. BS says they should not be at Stockley Park. They should be in the stadium. Yeah, I totally agree.
We should be able to hear and see what they're doing, so there's no kind of corruption or dodginess, if you like, because although people claim there's not to be, but that Brighton and Tottenham game, I mean, that's not normal for a referee to let as much go as he did. So we need to hear what happens between the referees. I think that's got to be a priority. Mic them up.
Yeah, it's.
Jerry says Matt Target should start for left back.
Yeah. And I don't like comparing rugby to football because they're totally different games. But when they do their VR check for a try, for instance, you can hear they're mic'd up for one thing, so you can hear what they're saying, and the referee's in control of everything. He says, right, my on-field decision is a try. Is there any reason why I can't give that? And then they'll have to prove to him that he shouldn't give it. And then if he's not sure, he says, well, I'm going to stay with my on-field decision. And I think that's the other problem, is that VAR in control of the ref, not the ref in control of VAR. Because he'll say, well, I can't see anything there. Show me this angle. You've got another angle. And you can see what they're looking at. If it's not convincing, he's going to stay with his on-field decision. It's a little bit different with rugby because there's a natural break in the game when the try is scored.
Yeah.
Or there's lots of breaks. So taking the time for reviewing the decision takes less time than it does to actually have a scrum in the actual the way they play the game, because that takes so bloody long. So it doesn't detract from the game. But they do need to. The referee needs to be in control of the process. It shouldn't be the VAR saying you need to come and have a look. They need to explain what they see, and then he decides whether he wants to go over and have a look.
Yeah,
and then he can dictate which angles he sees. And so, well, can you show me this angle? Right? Can you show me a better angle? It shouldn't be saying, "Oh, VAR have called him over." They're doing a VAR check. The refs needs to say, "Well, I don't need a VAR check. I'm sure I got my decision right." Or VAR's recommended that he sees the screen, but he needs to be in control of the situation, saying, right, my on-field, it's almost like, if it's Mike Tuck, can go, my on-field decision is no penalty, and then I want to see why I should give a penalty. Because they only show them one angle. Literally, they show them the angle that gives the decision that they want. I mean, and they don't necessarily go back far enough. I mean, like our goal disallowed against Crystal Palace, where Joe Willett was pushed into the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
and the same goal. And they only showed Willett hitting the keeper rather than the fact that it was pushed.
Yeah, exactly.
Hard weather sort, mate.
Sefton says 2 magpies in the garden. That's for Joyce, so lovely one. Jack says not far from. He's not a big fan of Borough, but only a half-hour bus ride away. Trolls has had to go. Bye, Trolls, and Ian's had to go as well. Bye-bye to Ian. BS says, for me, the ref should be asking to see the screen. That's an option, isn't it? And David says, "Right, guys, I'm going to watch the build up now and the flags. But come on, the two, great show, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping
Yes,
up as well,
David.
'cause I believe Harry's got to shoot off as well. Am I right?
Yes, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, though.
Before you go, though, do you want to let everybody know where they can find your social media channel, etc.,
Yeah. Thank you.
and
Once
what you've
again,
got coming
Tony,
up?
Yes, yeah. Thank you once again, Tony, for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure, and thank you all, for your lovely comments and getting involved. Before I talk about myself, it's important to subscribe to Tony's channel. It's All Black and White TV. If you haven't already, recently reached 500 subs, much deserved, it has to be said. So congratulations to Tony. If I'm correct, he's only been doing it since October. So the thought of him being already on the road to 1K is class, really, if you think about it. So make sure to get into 600 subs. I believe the link is, do you say in the chat or in the description? So yeah, go check it out. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure. You find my Twitter handle there, HarryScarf22. And any Spurs or Newcastle fans or any other fans, I'm doing a collab for a giveaway. So if you want to go check out my Twitter page before the game starts, you've got 25 minutes to enter the giveaway, and you can follow the steps there. Check out my own channel, Scarfy Spurs Talk. Recently also got 500 subs, very close to 600. I haven't checked today, so it might be at 600. Who knows? I have my own weekly show now every Monday, 8 p.m. This weekend I've got Newcastle fans may not know, but I've got two people. Well, I've got loads of people on, but two of them are Brian Daigle and Billy, who organising the Spurs protest this season. So that will be exciting. So yeah, thank you. Any subscribers are appreciated. Any fans are welcome. Any Newcastle fans in the chat, if you want to come over to my channel, give you a shout out because you've been great the 2 times I've been on. So hope you all enjoy the game, both of you, Tony and Rolly, and everyone in the chat. And I wish Newcastle every success the rest of the season after the game. You're probably still going to win.
I hope you don't enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game, absolutely. But no,
enjoy all the other ones.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure, both.
Yeah, guys, if you want to check out Harry's channel tomorrow night, I'm actually on there as well. So
yes, you
check
are.
that out. I'm on your
it's
show.
The first time I'm
night,
going to be trialing getting a rival, but opposition's fans' view. So Tony, you are the guinea pig. You're the trial, if you like. The first one to trial it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Pleasure. That's
a
pleasure. Lovely. Thanks for coming on, Harry. It's been absolutely brilliant, mate. Thank you.
I appreciate it. All the best, guys. Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game, but not too much.
yeah, not too much. All the best.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Right, that's Harry. I'll just go through some comments. See yous on the match review, lads. Great show. The mags. Thank you very much, Jack. Yeah. Auf Wiedersehen all. Enjoy the game, I'll be the lads. Yeah, definitely. And Alan says, great banter, Tony, Harry and Rolly. Chat, take care. Absolutely. Do you want to let people know where they can find you, Rolly?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Paul67.
There we go. And if you like what you see, then please smash a like. It does help the channel up the search results. So smash those likes on the way out if you haven't already done so. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe button to do so. Helps the channel grow, and bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. So thank you very much indeed to everybody who subscribed so far. But yeah, let's hope today we get back to winning ways. We put on a performance better than what we did last week, which I'm sure they will do. Sure they haven't dwelled too much on it, and they've probably knuckled down and said, no, we need a result. So let's see what happens. But until then, there will be a match review later, so do come back for that. And till then, enjoy the game. How are the lads?